entire FDP will be giving the duty of participant to introduce to say thanks to the report. So the participants further.
Sir, your voice was breaking. Please tell the participants again.
Okay. Now, over from my side, Suresh sir, in the entire FDP, the participants will itself be taking the session ahead. They will be introducing the next speaker. So I request the participant to introduce the next speaker for the session.
Yes, sir. I would like to request uh, our research scholar to introduce the speaker of the next session.
Sir, I am audible.
Yeah, Anjali, audible.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for the thank you. First of all, thank you to Mayank sir, who give the great knowledge of IBM Watson and about AI. Now, good evening to all of you. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this AICT Atal FDP on IBM Watson and Google Colab. We are honored to have with us an esteemed speaker, Dr. Sudeep Tanwar, who is a professor at Nirma University, India, and a visiting professor at WSG University, Jan Wyszykowski University, Poland, and the University of Pitești, Romania. He served as the vice chair of the IEEE Computer Society Gujarat section. With a PhD in the wireless sensor network, he has authored 5 books, edited 25, and published over 400 research articles in the top tier journal and the conferences. His research interests span blockchain, IoT, AI, ML for computing, and the smart grid. He has received multiple Best Paper Award, IEEE, SCI, OT, IWCMC, and prestigious faculty award for the high impact research. His index as per the Google Scholar and the Scopus is 72 and 58 respectively. He also leads the ST Research Laboratory focusing on cutting edge technology. With his vast expertise and the research experience, we are fortunate to have him with us today to share his insights on topic blockchain for 5G and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sudeep Tanwar, sir. Please join us,
Yeah,
sir. Now
thank you
session
very
is
much.
yours.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
I hope that my voice is audible.
Sir,
Yeah,
bus participants, I would like to tell you that I am also learning from Tanwar sir. Tanwar sir is a mentor for me also. So please be attentive. And he is really a very gentle fellow, a renowned researcher, worked a lot on blockchain, a lot on blockchain. Sir, I am very thankful to you to join this session, sir. Thank you, sir.
just a minute, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And we all are learning from each other. Okay, now just give me 2 minutes because my PPT, I'm just opening it because give me 2 minutes just. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. Now, see, this FDP is a different FDP. Artificial intelligence is one horizon, but the security issue which comes, how to save this ourselves from security. Blockchain is the solution for the security. So Tanvar sir will be throwing the light on security, how to save from it, how to uh, keep ourselves safe, how to keep our application safe. In the meantime, Tanvar sir joins again. He is having some technical issue. So any queries, I would love to answer the queries. You can put the queries in the chat window. सो इससे ध्यान रखना कि सर ज्वाइन करेंगे ना राइट्स देने के लिए सर को फिर से सर ने
हाँ जी
रीस्टार्ट
सर,
कर रहे हैं।
सर अभी ज्वाइन नहीं हुए, मैं वेट कर रहा हूँ
अच्छा
सर।
सर अपना सिस्टम रीस्टार्ट कर रहे हैं कुछ है।
अच्छा 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 सर। Participants, in the meantime, I would like to tell you again that attendance will be taken automatically from the MS Teams app. No need to ask again for the attendance link. Just type your full name while joining in the session to, to match as per the record which you have filled in the AICTE Airtel portal. There will be quiz exam on the last date of the FDP. It will be a objective type multiple choice question quiz, and it will be a mandatory quiz for all of you to complete this FDP and to get the completion certificate. We will take the attendance from time to time in the session. So try to attend the complete session and do not leave the session in between. The attendance will be taken automatically from time to time. Kumar Vaibhav Bhatnagar, do you want to say something? You have raised the hand. Type in the chat if you want to say something. Yes, no need to worry about if you are joining again or leaving the session. The total duration of your presence will be recorded. Write in the chat if you have any question. If you have any query, write in the chat. No need to worry about the network interruption. Try to join again if you are disconnected.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. I hope that my voice is audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Audible,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Audible, sir.
and let me
Screen
just
is
share.
also visible, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Now you all are able to see my PPTs. If I'm changing the same is reflected at your end.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
So just a minute. Yeah. So let me open the pointer also. So a very good evening to all of you. And first of all, sorry for this interruption because my power window goes into the update modes. So first of all, thank you very much to Dr. Mayank and the entire team for giving me this chance to share my knowledge onto the blockchain technology, where how you can apply this blockchain technology into 5G and beyond applications. And uh, I am also learning this blockchain technology from Dr. Mayank also. So in fact, we all are learning from each other. So now before starting the technical discussion, let me share the disclaimer statement with all of you. So whatever I am going to discuss with all of you in the next 1 hour, don't treat it as a standard guideline, because I personally believe when it comes to exploring a particular technology, every individual is having their own viewpoint. So I want to give the due credit to all the researchers, those who have contributed in the area of blockchain technology, where they have already adopted this blockchain technology into the different verticals of industry 5.0. But we are only focusing onto the 5G and beyond applications. So let me just very quickly introduce my university. So Nirma University was established as a first private university in the state of Gujarat. Earlier we call it as a Nirma Institute of Technology, and the institute was established in 1995. So today my university is having various institutes, starting from I belongs to Institute of Technology. So and starting from Institute of Technology, then Management, Pharmacy, and latest we have added this Department of Design in 2017. So now moving to the about my research group. So in Nirma University, primarily PhD, MTech and BTech students. More than 30 students are associated in my group, and some are the summer and winter interns also from other research group. So primarily the group members are working on cutting edge technologies, like finding out the use cases, different industrial 4.0 use cases, where primarily we are working on to sensor networks, smart grid communication, cyber physical system, and blockchain technology. So I also invite all of you that if some of your students want to join our research group as a summer intern or winter intern, then we do offer the internship also. It's a research based remote internship. So some of the part I am just keeping. So now what is the agenda for today discussion? In the next you can say 1.5 hour, we are going to discuss about I have divided my entire talk into three verticals. So in the first part, very quickly, I'm going to introduce you what exactly the meaning of blockchain technology. Very quickly, we are going to discuss. And then in the second part, we will see that how you are going to adopt blockchain in the different verticals of Industry 4.0, particularly 5G and beyond applications. What are the different applications where you can adopt the blockchain? And if the time permit, at the last, we will discuss about the potential blockchain applications concerning to the India as a great nation. So now, starting the first part, what exactly the meaning of blockchain? So if you just explore, you will find numerous definitions, numerous perspective of blockchain. But let me just tell you, it is a kind of a distributed ledger technology which enable multiple authoritative domains who do not have trust on each other. It is just like that. As a teacher, if I identified there are 4 to 5 students in a class and they are not taking part in any of the placement activities, and they are not appearing in gate because they do not want to go for higher studies, then as a teacher I inquired, what are the problems with you guys? Then they replied that we want to start our own joint venture. Then as a teacher I feel happy, but when I inquired more, they say that technically we know that we all 4 or 5 we are very much competent, but we do not have trust on each other. So now they need a kind of a technology which will help them in order to establish the trust in this in their defined ecosystem. So now if you compare the same example that I have narrated to all of you, blockchain is a kind of a decentralized information sharing platform which enable multiple parties who do not have trust on each other, but still they want to collaborate, they want to coordinate, they want to cooperate for what? Because in order to make take part in the rational decision making process. So this is the exact meaning of blockchain. And let me just tell you one more thing. It is not the replacement of the centralized system. It is onto the top of the centralized system. Why? Because for some of the applications, the centralized systems are going to give us the optimum results. So why to invest and why to go for the decentralization unless and until there is a deemed need from the stakeholder side. So this is the scientific meaning of blockchain technology. So now very quickly, I'm going to take one example in front of all of you to understand how this technology works. So now forget about what is there in this particular tutorial, but let me take a very simple example. So let's say if I want to transfer 10,000 rupees from my account to Dr. Mayank's account, I have plenty of options as of now. Now, at present era, I can use Beam app, I can use Paytm, I can use other options. But let's say I want to use the traditional option. So where I am having my account in Punjab National Bank and Dr. Mayank is having his account in State Bank of India. So let's say the moment I have added his account and after 2 or 3 hours, I am entitled to transfer and initiate the transaction which I want to transfer. So the moment I entered 10,000 rupees in my Punjab National Bank portal and enter the transaction ID password and entered finally the OTP, now the request is not directly where the request is directly goes basically. So it is going to the third party before reaching to the State Bank of India server. There is a third party who is responsible in order to credit that particular amount to the recipient account. So now who is this third party? This third party is the payment gateways. So what I want to emphasize here is in a normal financial institution, if you want to do the transaction, you need to solely focus on to the services provided by the payment gateways. Every bank is nowadays using the services of the payment gateways like Atom, PayU. This list is very long. So that means the success of a transaction is dependent upon the services provided by the payment gateway. Sometimes it may happen that amount is debited from your account, but not credited to the account of the recipient. So now you need to initiate refund sometime. Sometime it is automatically credited to your account. So now the same example which I have narrated to all of you, it is the normal financial institutions. Every bank is using this particular model. So now come back to this particular tutorial. And with this tutorial, we try to understand how this blockchain technology works. So now initially, hypothetically, just assume for understanding this concept that there are 4 friends. So let's say friend X, Y, P, and Z. So now initially, if we assume that there are 4 friends, then in that particular case, we can say that there are 4 friends and everyone is having $100 in their account. Let's say, for example, okay. So now all these friends, they are connected to each other, and how they are connected to each other in a computer network. There is a concept peer-to-peer network, P2P network. So blockchain is using the concept of peer-to-peer network. That means every individual is connected to all the remaining nodes. So now let's say if I want to initiate the first transaction where person X want to transfer $50 to Y. So this is a transaction between X to Y where X want to transfer $50 to Y. But despite of the fact that it is a transaction between X and Y, this information that X has transferred $50 to Y is captured by P and Z also. Why? You can see here in the ledger of P and Z, they are also having this information that X has transferred $50 to Y. Why? Because later on, if Y denies, hey, I have not received any $50 from your side, then how the Y can convince, or you can say the X can convince to the rest of the stakeholder, hey, actually I have transferred $50 to you. So that means in order to resolve that particular conflict, these ledgers are going to be referred. And this is one of the reasons why this blockchain technology is called the distributed ledger technology, because ledger is distributed in a multi-party scenario. So now in a normal financial institutions, what happened? We have the passbook, we have the timestamp. So now same replica we are going to create by having these ledgers. Now if you want to initiate another transaction, let's say where person Y want to transfer $30 to P. It is a transaction between Y to P, but this information that Y has transferred $30 to P is captured by X and Z. This will not happen in normal financial institution. Why? Because my account is, if you come back to my example, my account is debited by 10,000 rupees and Dr. Mayank's account is credited by 10,000 rupees. Okay, so even though in my bank there are 1 lakh of customer, even though in Dr. Mayank's bank there are 50,000 plus customer, they are not the party to it except me and Dr. Mayank. But this is not the scenario in case of blockchain technology, because we are maintaining the ledger. So that means that Y has transferred $30 to P is captured by X and Z, even though they are not the party, because whenever any conflict will arise, these ledgers are going to be referred in order to take the final decision. So now, have you seen in this particular tutorial any involvement of the payment gateway or the third party? No, there is no payment gateway, no third party. It is a end-to-end transaction. So now, if it is a end-to-end transaction, then why government of India as of now have not adopted this blockchain into the financial sector? Why? Reason number one, if it is an end-to-end transaction, then who will be the regulatory? Now next question comes, why we need regulatory? Because if the amount goes from India to any other country, then who will take the ownership? So that means in our financial model in Indian context, we have the Reserve Bank of India as a regulatory. Who will be the regulatory for all the financial institutions, including the banks, and can issue the advisory, can issue the red flag against any of the individual. But here, if it is end-to-end transaction, then big question is that who is the regulatory? But successful trial of adopting the blockchain in the financial sector already carried out by Mahindra Bank, by by State Bank of India, by Geo, and draft is pending with the Government of India and Ministry of Finance. Specifically, their concern is that who is going to be the regulatory. And because of this reason, our honorable finance minister, not recently, but last financial year budgets, he come up with a kind of a uh, not exactly the cryptocurrency, but the digital currency, CBDC. So CBDC is the new development in the Indian financial sector, central bank digital currency. It is the digital wallet which gives you the flexibility to transfer the amount from your account to your friend account using the wallet system. But exactly, it is not the cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Monero, Zcash. So, so this is a typical understanding from the blockchain perspective that how this technology works. And similarly, whatever amount, because she has already transferred $50 to Y and she is having only $50 left. So see this type of transaction and she want to initiate a transaction of $80 for which she is not entitled. Why? Because she is having only $50 left in her account. So this is not a valid transaction because of the insufficient fund. So this is the way how this blockchain technology works as a layman. But if you go into the detail, it is a very complex, you can say. A lot of things are there. Who is going to monitor the transaction? Who is going to access the transaction? Up to how much extent we are going to wait? So all these details we are not going to go into the deep because this is not our agenda of discussion. So now, before moving to the 5G based applications, let me just tell you, for you people, I have prepared some key trends in the blockchain, which are at least remains for the next 2 to 3 years at least. And if you are very much fascinating working in this area, then these two slides are very important for you to understand how the technology over a period of time in the next 2 to 3 years are going to revolutionize. So now DeFi is a very recently introduced concept, decentralized finance. And most of the business analytics oriented or financial companies, they are using this decentralized finance, DeFi. The sole objective is because this DeFi is going to remove the third party and the centralized institution is going to use this particular. This is the first key trend in the area of blockchain technology. NFT, non-fragile token, basically, which is a piece of art or digital content, or you can say an audio. It is also a kind of a unique identification codes created by from the metadata, and using some encryption techniques, you can store it. And later on, these assets are going to be used as a kind of a incentive or as a kind of a buying anything. This is also a recent trends in the area of blockchain technology. And the third and key trend in the blockchain is the cross-chain solution. So nowadays, interoperability and cross-chain solution, because it is not within the country trade, but it is intra-country trade basically, or you can say inter-country trade also, where more focus is going on to how you are going to build up a kind of a complete decentralized application, which help the all the multi parties to have to enable the seamless asset transfers and without any kind of problem. This is the third key trend into the blockchain. And the fourth one is, I have already told you, in India, central bank digital currency is a new update where the intention of the government of India when they come up with this CBDC was to boost up the payment system and at the same time to enhance the financial inclusion by having the wallets and at the same time compliance to the regulatories like Reserve Bank of India and compliance to the DPDP also, Data Privacy and Data Protection Act. So recently, I think all of you are aware about that Government of India come up with a kind of a DP Data Privacy and Data Protection Act also. So CBDC is complying to both data privacy, data protection, as well as the regulatory compliances. And next key trend in the blockchain is the sustainability initiative, because uh, you know that the United Nations, they have already defined the SDGs basically. So now where where if you see the concept proof of work concept in the blockchain, which itself consume energy when it comes to selecting that which transaction is going to be accommodated into the blockchain network. So using the concept of green mining and carbon offsetting, these two are the prominent areas which gain attention across the globe from the academia and industry also. And because of these two reasons, people have started working onto the adopting the blockchain in order to fulfill the sustainability initiatives also as per the United Nations goal. And the last key trend is the adoption or the amalgamation of artificial intelligence and blockchain for some smart decentralized applications where the usage of AI with blockchain is growing fastly. Why? Because everybody is very much interested that rather than dumping the entire data onto the blockchain, before storing that data into the blockchain, let's first analyze that particular data. Now the next question comes, why there is a requirement to analyze that particular data? Because once the data is stored onto the blockchain, you don't have any right to modify it. So that means if it is irrelevant data, which is not for use to be used in the subsequent steps, then why you are going to increase the cost of your entire solution? So that's the way people are nowadays in the first layer itself, they are segregating the data based upon the AI models and analyze that data, whether that data is to be useful in the times to come or not. And it's a real time insights you are going to get. People are using it in order to identify the fraud detection or process optimization. So these are the some key trends in the area of blockchain technology in the present era. Now, after that, if you see, many people they have already adopted this blockchain in the electronic healthcare record system also, where primarily in India we are following personal healthcare record, but the countries like European Union, US, they are following the electronic healthcare record system, where since your birth till your death, all kind of records are bound to one encoded ID, and that encoded ID belongs to you. So whenever you visit any doctor, any hospital, they are not going to ask what kind of disease you are having, vaccinations and surgery. They are just asking you that please provide us your encoded ID. The moment doctor enter that encoded ID into the system, since your birth till date, all details pertaining to your healthcare will be in front of the doctor. But the country like India, having population 140 plus crore population, it is very difficult to manage this huge amount of data. In case of any theft, loss of privacy, who is going to take the ownership? So people are starting into this direction also. That is the reason why Government of India come up with a kind of a healthcare standard DISHA, DISHA. So this is also one of the standard recently Government of India launched in the direction of healthcare. So this is also one of the very promising applications of blockchain, where uh, you need to access all the requests from the blockchain server itself, and the ultimate objective is you are going to capture the timestamp so that in case of any irregularities are going to be happen, then you have an option where you can backtrack that actually it happened where. So that's the way, adding this additional layer, it's a kind of a trade-off. Basically, many people are saying that it is going to increase the entire cost, and some people say that no, cost is not a barrier for us, but the prime concern is security. Again, you have to take your call whether compromising with security is okay to you, or spending the more money is okay to you. So it depends upon your requirement. Now, genomic data sharing in India, very few institutions are working in this direction. Genomic data sharing, this is also very prominent area where people have started adopting the blockchain also. Data sharing means that let's say there are many DNA donors are available, but there are very few biobanks or DNA donor which contains the information about the DNA donor. How the government is going to establish this ecosystem, trustworthy ecosystem, where there is no question of monopoly, everything is so transparent. So whatever blue lines you are seeing here in this particular diagram, I'm not going into the detail of this, but all these are belongs to the not the traditional, but where you have incorporated the blockchain network. So every request will go through this blockchain network, so that verification is not going to be a typical task. Verification is going to be an easy task, and at the same time you are going to check that how you are going to give the tokens to the concerning donors or not. But more scope is available for all of us to fine tune it. Now the big first question is that how you are going to make this cryptographically secured, which so you can have an option to apply multiple cryptographic technique and do a kind of a comparative analysis. Second research question, open research question in front of all of us is development of the automated smart contract for genomic data sharing. So that means without any human intervention. So whatever smart contract you have developed, that smart contract itself is going to be executed and without any human intervention. Third research question in front of all of us concerning to this problem is the innovative incentive mechanism. So how you are going to give the incentive to the DNA donors? So that too without any biasness, without any monopoly. So many people have started uh, adopting the various game theoretic approach here, like Stackelberg game, Bayesian correlation game. So those who love optimization, so it is going to be a very, very good area for them. How to develop a innovative incentive mechanism for genomic data sharing. Fourth one is people have started. I already told you that AI adoption into the blockchain. So now before the request will come. So before processing that particular request, you need to pass that request to the from the AI algorithm in order to check whether that is a legitimate request coming from the legitimate user or it is a false request coming from the attacker. So these four are the open problem in front of all of us. And believe me, you will find very, very few literature in this particular area. Now, moving to the another applications of blockchain is the insurance claiming and billing. Why I have selected this application? Because this is also the need of the day, not only in India, but across the globe. Particularly in the era of COVID-19, you have already noticed that insurance sector is declining, insurance sector is down, and insurance premium is increasing. Okay, why? What are the reasons? Reason number one, wrong settlement of the claim, false settlement of the claim, false clearance of the patient bills from the hospitals. Now, this is an open question in front of all of us that how or which technology we are going to use, which will help the insurance companies or the government in order to identify that no false claim is going to be settled. If no false claim is going to be settled, this is a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. So now you will find very few literature here also where people have adopted the blockchain. So now this extra layer you are going to add. The scenario is very simple. If I describe this particular diagram on the left hand side, let's say as a customer you submit the claim to the insurance company. Okay, let's say that you have purchased healthcare plan from insurance company and you have submitted the claim. The moment you submit the claim to any insurance company, definitely they are going to create some initial claim record. That means number is generated, and after that, they are going to request for some additional document from the customer. So the moment customer upload these documents are to be uploaded onto the blockchain network basically. Okay. Now verification of these record, verification of the diagnostic reports, submission of the verification report and process claim is automatically taken care by this blockchain network, which because it is a tiny program written in Go Solidity kind of language, which is itself capable in order to take the decision without any involvement of the human intervention. Okay, so once this claim is automatically processed, then that case is notified to the customer, and finally the payment is initiated and perform the compliance check, because after that auditor, internal and external auditor, they are going to check the do the audit. So this is a typical layout, or you can say the working flow of this particular very promising technology. I can say very promising use case where people have adopting the blockchain in insurance claiming and billing. Their sole objective is that how they are going to stop the fraud settlement of the insurance claim. Okay, so now one of the paper, research paper, or that work was carried out by my MTech student Karan Parekh. Uh, that work was published in one of the very renowned journal, SCI Index Journal, Journal of Information Security and Application. So this paper received highly cited award from the Elsevier in the year 2021. So where we have worked onto the electronic healthcare record system, because in India I already told you that we are following the PHR. So we took the help of Brunel University UK, where we took the help of Richard Ivan. He helped us in order to provide the access of EHR, and where because they have the facility in their university, the medical center, and we took the sample and do the research on that particular data set. So this is about the blockchain and the recent use cases. Now come to the 5G, basically the part two of my presentation, where we are going to discuss about if you want to adopt the blockchain in the 5G, then what are the different promising applications for you? So we know that Government of India has already adopted or launched the 5G in various cities now, almost everywhere. You know that this 5G, what was the vision of Government of India to provide ultra reliable, low latency communications and reliable 100% reliability, 100% availability of data, but scalability always remains to be a problem. At the same time, this 5G provides massive capacity. Sometimes the upward is 1000 times and connectivity where billions of users and machines can be connected. But when we see the realistic viewpoint, so this technology is still under development, and the speed which the internet service providers they are claiming that this 5G is going to give us, it is sometimes practically looks unrealistic. Why? Because of the incompetent technological support, because it is very costly affair for the companies to replace all the network equipment. So in a gradual process, they are replacing it. So this is the agenda that in this particular part two of my presentation, where we need to focus more on to the security and privacy, that how we are going to take care the security and privacy perspective of the 5G by adopting the blockchain in different verticals. So now the first security challenge, so all these PPT now onwards, they are going to give you the insights. They are going to give you the new definition. They are going to give you the brief idea that how what are the areas where you can pick any one area in order to proceed adopting the blockchain. So the first security challenge in 5G is basically the uses of the centralized architecture. So because the networking and computing performance of 5G is going to be degraded because of its centralized architecture, and you know that centralized architectures are having bottleneck because they are vulnerable to single point of failure. So the rapid increase in mobile data traffic and increasing demand of 5G because of these video games and these massive uses of the mobile data, it is going to create burden onto the available infrastructure, which already have some kind of very prominent challenges like in terms of performance of the system, in terms of the security. So if you take an example, let's take an example of spectrum sharing, where the spectrum is shared between the mobile network operator and the mobile user. So now in the spectrum sharing, if you are using the centralized architecture, so let's say in a spectrum sharing, if you are using the centralized architecture, then it raises many security concerns because of the bottleneck. The centralized system is always vulnerable, and the central point of attack from the malicious users are always possible. So such centralized systems, if we are using into the 5G network, they are going to create big problems, and ultimately they are going to create disruption of the entire spectrum sharing. So this was the first security challenge brought up by 5G if we want to adopt the 5G pertaining to the security. Now, at the same time, it is having some challenges, but this challenge is giving us some opportunity also. So now what is the first opportunity brought up by adopting the blockchain to 5G network? So the first opportunity is the security enhancement. Now, how the security is enhanced by adopting the blockchain to the 5G network? So if you want to, because blockchain uh, gives you certain commitment onto the security and privacy of 5G ecosystem. How? Because it provides some properties, some characteristics like decentralization, privacy because of the hashing concept, which is a one-way function, immutability, because no, once the smart contract is deployed, you don't have any right to modify that already deployed smart contract. So immutability means next to impossible to modify it. Theoretically, we can say traceability because it's a ledger. So every entry is going to be documented properly, and transparency at any instant of time. Anyone can check that what is going on in the network, where we are, how many transactions are committed, how many transactions are remaining. So this blockchain is going to create a fair agreement between all the parties. But at the same time, if you want to adopt the blockchain into the D2D communication, which or machine to machine communication, then the ledgers basically is going to store the data pertaining to all the strong user and weak user pairing data and provide high degree of security, and at the same time provide better system protection capabilities against the attacks like denial of service attack and all kind of threats. And now, what are the primary reasons that this blockchain, how it is going to provide the security to 5G network? Because here it is up to the blockchain developer that what kind of smart contract the blockchain developer has created and what kind of authentication mechanism they have used in the 5G cellular network. So based upon these parameters, this is the first opportunity in front of all of us, those who are very much inclined of adopting the blockchain to 5G network. Second opportunity brought up by adopting the blockchain to 5G network is the system performance enhancement. How the system performance is going to be enhanced after adopting the blockchain to the 5G network, because there are two methods that we can use in order to store the data onto the blockchain. The first method is the on-chain based storage. Now, what is this on-chain based storage? Rather than knowing whether the data is important for me or not, you dump the entire data onto the blockchain. So that particular phenomena, we call it as a on-chain based storage. Now, the the more efficient mechanism is, which the people are nowadays using, is the off-chain based mechanism, where you just store the hash pertaining to that data into the block. And whenever you want to fetch the transaction which are there inside that particular block, you just fetch that particular data from that particular block, from that particular encoded ID. So that means storing the encoded ID or the hash pertaining to that block which carry the set of transaction or the data is much more less costly compared to dumping the entire data. So this phenomena, we call it as a off-chain based storage. So system performance throughput is enhanced by using the off-chain based storage, where all kind of resources request can be verified at any instant of time. And at the same time, this blockchain will provide you the flexibility to have a direct communication between the 5G service providers and the mobile users, so that there is no extra management solution is required. So that means this blockchain itself is capable in order to provide the management, reduce the management cost, because there is no additional uh, additional management is required. And this is also finally it offers highly flexible and efficient data delivery model into the 5G ecosystem. So this is the second opportunity brought up by blockchain if you want to adopt the blockchain to the 5G network. And third opportunity is network simplification. So how this blockchain is going to simplify the entire network. So by adopting the blockchain, the mobile operators, they can have no worry about the establishment of centralized control servers, because the 5G primarily, if you see 5G is going to this blockchain, if you want to adopt into the 5G, it is going to reduce the network complexity. Why? Because there is no significant operational cost and there is no additional requirement of management tools required in order to take care all kinds of logs and checking that and storing that particular log into the additional space. No, it is not required. And if you take an example, all the transactions for 5G services, like if you want to share data, if you want to have spectrum sharing, so all these things are controlled by the blockchain network itself. So where all the entities, they hold the same rights to manage and maintain the entire network without any biasness, without any monopoly. So because of these reasons, the entire network of the complete ecosystem is going to be more simplified compared to the centralized mechanism. So this is the third opportunity brought up by blockchain to the 5G network. Now, after discussing the challenges, after discussing the three opportunities brought up by the blockchain network in front of all of us, what are the areas where right now the research is going on? This is very important slide for all of us to understand. If you want to work into the area of communication into the 5G, then what are the promising areas where research is going on? So primarily the research is going on in this five direction: blockchain for cloud computing or cloud radio access network, blockchain for mobile edge computing, blockchain for network function virtualization, blockchain for network slicing, and blockchain for D2D communication. So these are the five areas where a lot of scope is available for all of us to contribute, whether in terms of new consensus mechanism, whether in terms of reducing the cost of the solution by applying the or devising a new off-chain based storage system, or in order to adopt the artificial intelligence and blockchain joins hands together in order to make the system more efficient in terms of cost analysis, in terms of taking the decision. So these are the five areas where right now the research is going on pertaining to security and privacy, and specifically the decentralization in the 5G technologies. So now in the subsequent slides, I have kept one slide for each, just to give you an overview that what kind of research is going on in these all five different dimensions. So now the first one is blockchain or cloud computing or cloud radio access network. So what are the benefits of adopting the blockchain in the cloud radio access network? For it has two reasons why there is a requirement. Some of the researchers, they have already implemented in long back also, but now if you see this particular area, very booming area where open cloud ran, and because of the inception of this 5G and beyond applications, a lot of scope is available for all of us to contribute in this area. Now coming back to this discussion, that what are the reasons or the motivation for us? The first motivation is of adopting the blockchain in cloud RAN 5G network, because it is going to eliminate single point of failure bottleneck and improve significantly the trust of the complete system. This is the first reason. Second reason is it eliminates the need of the third party like in the centralized system basically. So now how? You can see that all these physical IoT enabled devices, they are capturing the data, and through this gateway data is to be processed. And this is my basically the blockchain network where I am doing actually the mining, and this is my deployed smart contract onto this blockchain network. So whenever any data is to be fetched, that data is to be routed through this blockchain network basically. Okay. And finally all the applications and services, and this is my database and this is my actual data, and this is my node and traffic profile data. So this is a typical layout where how people have come up with a kind of a blockchain network, and all the access, all the requests are routed through this blockchain network. So if you see in this particular architecture, the hash pertaining to all these IoT enabled devices. So let's say if I am having 50 IoT enabled devices that I have deployed in a particular applications, or let's say in my smart home. So I need to store the hash of these all IoT enabled devices into the blockchain network, whereas the actual data gathered by all these smart devices are to be stored onto the off chain, that is my cloud basically. See it very carefully. That's the way I have already told you previously in my starting discussion that that decentralization or blockchain is not the replacement of the centralized system. It is onto the top of centralized system. As you can see here, the ID, or you can say the hash of the device, is stored onto the blockchain, but the actual data which this smart, let's say, watch is generating, this data is stored onto the off-chain based storage, which is, let's say, cloud. So further, if you want to do some analysis, so the smart contracts are provisioned to identify the provenance of the receipt of the data which is stored onto the database. That means no party can access the data without that request is to be fetched from this blockchain network. So a lot of scope is available for you people to contribute. Scope number one, you can devise a consensus mechanism, new class of consensus mechanism. Scope number two, you can devise your own off-chain based storage protocol. Scope number three, you can reduce, or you can apply the artificial intelligence or machine learning here in order to classify the request before it is forwarded to the blockchain network, whether that request is malicious or that request is not malicious. It's a classification problem. So multiple views are there, multiple scope is there where you can contribute for adopting the blockchain for cloud computing and cloud RAN. Second area that is in front of all of us is blockchain for mobile edge computing. You know that in case of mobile edge computing, we are going to perform the computing at the edge of that particular device, which is prominent concept in the distributed computing also. But at the same time, these type of devices, they have the very limited memory capability, very minimum, you can say, processing capabilities. Okay, so now if you want to apply these type of devices into the processing computing environment, then sometime they are vulnerable to various type of attacks such as jamming attacks, sniffer attack, and denial of services attack, where you are not going to access your system 24 by 7. So now if you are going to apply the blockchain in this mobile edge computing, which is going to build a distributed and trusted authentication system, to realize the reliable authentication and information sharing. And this blockchain itself is going to provide more security features for efficient data storage for mobile edge computing. And at the same time, the complete system uh, accuracy, consistency, and origin of data is to be assessed in a transparent way. So many areas or many articles already contributed by the researcher in this area, but still a lot of scope is available for you people. Now, scope number one, how you are going to increase the accuracy of your model. Those who love machine learning and deep learning, application can be anything. Application can be the smart vehicle, application can be the UAV, application can be the smart city. Second is that how you are going to establish the transparency. So a lot of people have developed the mathematical transparency model where they have come up with a kind of a transparency metric, and they have adopted the optimization problem It's a multi-optimization problem basically, where they establish the trade-off and solve that trade-off by applying a different optimization technique, and then finally they compare and come up with their findings. So this is the second very promising applications of 5G and beyond, where people have adopted the blockchain. Third one is Third application is the network function virtualization. So uh, now you can see that conceptually, uh, in this application also many of the researchers have already adopted blockchain, but still at the last I will tell you what are the scopes for all of us to contribute basically. So with the authenticity, integrity, and non-reputation nature of this blockchain can facilitate network function virtualization in three aspects. Aspect number one, blockchain can enable reliable, easy, and flexible orchestration of network function virtualization services. Second, blockchain can secure delivery of network functions, as you can see from this particular diagram also, and at the same time, ensure system integrity against both insider and outsider attacks, because all the requests are routed through that particular blockchain module basically. And finally, blockchain can perform data auditing and monitoring of the system during the network communication. So no additional cost is involved in order to do this kind of auditing and monitoring system. This is to be taken care by the blockchain module itself. So here blockchain can be act as a decentralized database. It's not the centralized database, it's a decentralized database. Now, why it is a decentralized database? Because this decentralized database is to be shared between the different virtualization server and virtual machines and other stakeholders. So this is also very promising area where you can adopt the blockchain in the network function virtualization. So now the open research question in front of all of us is that how how you are going to perform the auditing to make your auditing more transparent. Second is uh, you are going to you can do the cost comparison analysis of the on-chain and off-chain based storage system. And third is you can create a kind of a threat model, which will be helpful for you in order to identify the threats in the different directions basically. And the fourth area where people have adopted the blockchain is the network slicing. So you know that what happened in case of network slicing, because if you want to support the IoT applications in the different smart city applications basically, then primarily the 5G relies onto the network slicing concept, where you are going to separate multiple virtual networks operating onto the same physical hardware basically. So now uh, but this network slicing, it come up with a kind of a several security challenges, like challenge number one, inter-slice security threat and inter-domain slice segment. Whenever you are going to separate the multiple virtual network operating onto the same physical hardware, then it may happen that you may face some kind of connectivity issue between the different virtual networks, maybe because of the connectivity issue, because of the network failure. Okay, so now there is a requirement that you need to establish a common control plane function, and that is also going to create a problem of data leakage, and sometime integrity is also going to be the problem because of because of this common control plane function. So many researchers, they have already adopted the blockchain for network slicing also. Why? The motivation is because they want to make their system more reliable end to end, and at the same time allow the network slide provider to manage their resources more efficiently. And the last one, where our research group also, we have contributed a lot in device to device communication, where strong user, weak user pairing we have established. And because mobile data can be transferred securely over the D2D network via blockchain ledger, not directly, but via the blockchain ledger, and the smart contracts are stored onto the blockchain, which solve the privacy leakage problem of image features if you are working onto the image based data set basically, and computation offloading and content caching in device to device environment can be performed by the edge servers basically. Okay, so this is the blockchain based D2D communication where you have to establish the pairing between the strong user and the weak user, but prior to that you have to adopt the blockchain, and you are not going to replace the cloud, because cloud based blockchain based cloud services are also there. This is basically the basically the off chain based storage that you are going to use. So this is also very promising applications where you can take multiple resources like interference, you can take bandwidth, and it is up to you that what application you want to select. But a lot of scope is available for you to contribute in the device to device communication also. The last one is the access control policy. So many people have adopted the blockchain in the access control in 5G basically. This access control is different from the normal access control. What happen in case of normal access control? Let's say I have my system, and to what which user I want to give the access of my resources. Okay, but here the access control means that whatever users you are having basically, and how you have to automate that particular process without any human intervention. So many researchers, they have adopted the blockchain, the access control also. Like one of my PhD student, he worked in this area where he devised new access control policies and protocols for device to device communication, where he has developed the smart contract, and this smart contract, they can offer access control capabilities directly to protect the system from against the possible threats, and at the same time you can define the access policies where predefined means what? These access policies are the part of the smart contract and stored into that particular contract. All these are my access policies, for example access control contract, and this contract are self-capable in order to verify the user request, whether the request is coming from the legitimate user, and based upon the real time, uh, the request can be processed, and according to the policies, whatever you have defined into the blockchain network. So now moving further, what are the research challenges and issues? So now let me just um, tell you where the research is right now going on. So the first, still the research is going on in this direction. So the first research challenge in front of all of us, these are the main takeaways of my talk. Basically, the first is the blockchain throughput. So many researchers are working in order in this particular parameter, blockchain throughput. So now, ultimately, the objective of researchers are to settle the transaction as faster as possible. So if you take an example, the Bitcoin and Ethereum, they can process a maximum of 4 to 20 transactions per second. Okay, but in some of the blockchain, you will find that the waiting time is very long in order to settle that transaction. So ultimate objective is that how you are going to improve the overall system throughput. This is the first research challenge and issue in front of all of us. Second research challenge and issue in front of all of us is the storage. How you are going to reduce the storage cost. Because if you take an example, 5G network, if you want to use blockchain in 5G network, a huge amount of data is generated and by a processed by the blockchain for 5G services. Services can be data sharing, resource management, and user transaction. So ultimately, the objective is that how you are going to propose an a less storage and less computationally burden how you are going to have in your solution. So this is the second research challenge in front of all of us, how you are going to reduce the storage of your complete ecosystem. Third research challenge in front of all of us is blockchain security. Now, now these attacker, they are very clever. They have started attacking onto the blockchain also. So that's the way blockchain forensic, crypto forensic comes into the picture. So now even blockchain, people are saying that no, this blockchain is a very secure, tamper proof. But theoretically, we can say that. But if you Google it, you will also realize that there are many use cases where people have started attacking onto the blockchain also. So that's the way this 51% of attack comes into the existence. So this is also one of the key area that how you are going to make your blockchain more secure before adopting it into the 5G related applications. By doing the blockchain forensic, by doing the crypto forensic, if you want to establish the complete pipeline from complete pipeline of the entire decentralized application. Fourth research challenge in front of all of us is the resource constraint and allocation, because blockchain require computation on transaction before it is accepted or rejected. So that means you need to do the computation onto the transaction which is there inside the blockchain and before taking the decision whether to accept it or reject it. So now consensus we are going to take into consideration. So sometimes it is not feasible for all the nodes in the network to participate in the transaction validation process. So now this is the ultimate challenge, how you are going to make your consensus round of the mining more lucrative so that more number of participants will take part in the mining. Why I am worried about more number? Because otherwise it is going to be a bias system or unhealthy system. So that is also one of the key research area where many researchers are working, that how you are going to make the resource constraint and allocate them efficiently. And the last research question in front of all of us is energy efficiency. You know that 5G is significantly increase the energy consumption due to its network design and increased network equipments and because of the existing physical infrastructure. And in the blockchain, most of the power is consumed in consensus. So it is a more complex problem if you want to adopt blockchain into the 5G, because 5G is consuming energy because of its network design and increased network equipment. Blockchain itself consuming energy because of the consensus mechanism, because of the mining process. So now it is an open problem in front of all of us, that how we are going to build up an energy efficient decentralized applications which are going to cater the need of the blockchain adoption in the 5G network. This is an open research question in front of all of us. Still, many of the researchers, they have come up with some solutions, but still scope is available for all of us to contribute in order to make significant energy efficient adoption of blockchain into the 5G network. So these are the research challenges. So now, before to conclude, let me just uh, take one flow chart, discuss one flow chart with all of you. Now, let's say after attending this entire FDP, you are very much inclined into towards the area of security and cloud computing. So now, how will you identify that? How will you identify that whether the blockchain is right candidate for you or not? Whether the blockchain is right candidate for you, how will you identify? So now in that particular case, you need to uh, you need to have certain questions and try to find out the answer of these questions. There is no standard literature available which you can read and the literature itself is going to give you the answer to your question. So I came across a very good article written by Osai, where Osai come up with a kind of a flow chart which gives the answer to this question, then when the blockchain is needed. So let me just tell you why there is a need to discuss this, because in the area of blockchain technology, the hype is more, but the reality is very less. So it is not that blockchain is going to do miracle in all the applications. No, It is the area that you have selected and you have to map the requirement of that particular application with the characteristics of blockchain. So it is a kind of a direct mapping. So now first question you need to ask, where in the context of the application where you want to adopt the blockchain is, do you actually need the storage space? Do you need the memory? If you don't need, then blockchain is not the right candidate for you. Forget about adopting the blockchain. If the answer to first question is yes, yes, I need a storage state. I need to store the state of a particular device, particular user. Answer to this question is yes. Then you need to frame out a second question. In your defined application where you want to adopt blockchain, there are multiple stakeholders are available. If there are not multiple stakeholders, then forget about adopting the blockchain. If you don't have multiple stakeholder, there may be less chances that you may have conflict. Just take a very practical example. In our family, we have 4 members, and we are primarily relying on to the decision taken by our father. So then there is no chances of any conflict. Okay. So now same, if in your application you have only one decision maker, then there is no problem because there is no chances of conflict. If in your defined application you have multiple stakeholders, then you need to frame out another question that, can you always use trusted third party in order to exchange the data and information? Always using the trusted third party. That means you don't have any doubt onto the credibility of the third party. If yes, then blockchain is not the right candidate for you. If no, no, I'm not always using trusted third party in order to establish the communication in my application where I want to adopt the blockchain. Then you need to frame out another question. Are all the stakeholders are known to each other? If all the stakeholders are known to each other, they are not known to each other, then you can go with the permissionless blockchain, or you can call it as a public blockchain. Because what happened in case of public blockchain? In case of public blockchain, anyone can join the network at any instant of time, and it is open like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, and we can also call it as a permissionless blockchain. Now, if all the stakeholders are not known to are known to each other, if answer to this question is yes, then you need to frame out another question. Are all the writers trusted? That means all the stakeholders are trusted to each other. There is no credibility doubt onto all the stakeholder to each other. If answer to this question is yes, then again blockchain is not the right candidate for you. Forget about it. If answer to this question is no, that all the stakeholders are not trusted to each other, then the last question you need to frame out is public verifiability is required? What is the meaning of it? That means in every round of mining in your identified application, there is requirement that you need to do again and again verification. If yes, then you can go with public permission blockchain. If no, then you can go with private permission blockchain. So that is the way how you can decide based upon the characteristic of your application, based upon certain set of questions that you need to frame out related to your application, that whether blockchain is the right candidate for you or not. Some questions you will get, some clarity you will get from this particular flow chart. Okay. So now moving to the next part before I conclude. So if you see the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and Government of India, then Niti Aayog and other vision documents of Government of India for adopting the blockchain in different government services. So you will find numerous documents. So these are some of the applications that I have selected for you, where Government of India, they already identified these potential applications, and government need the support from the academia and industry. All these applications are very, very promising applications. If I talk about for each and every application, I need at least more than 3 hours in order to talk about all these applications, because all these are very promising applications. So if you take an example of land transfer record, India is facing problem where proving the ownership of a land itself is a problem. Sometime it may happen that for a single land there are multiple owners. So government want to establish a decentralized land record management system. Digital certificates, it is the need of the day. Why there is a requirement from the student side to physically apply and submit the physical copy of their documents and degree to any agency or to any employer? No need. In the times to come you will see that there is no need of any documents. All these documents are going to be digitally available, and only whatever the rights available to the stakeholders are able to have the access of your document. Like government of India already started DigiLocker. I believe that many of you have already visited the airports. If you visit the airport, you also realize that there is a one app, Digi Yatra app. So in the Digi Yatra app, you have to scan your boarding pass, and you have a flexibility that you can scan the scan your boarding pass through the Digi Yatra, and automatically the pre-authentication is carried out from your Aadhaar card. So no need to show the physical copy of your Aadhaar card at the time of entering into the airport. Automatically the doors will be opened from entry point till the time you to reaches inside the airport. So this DigiYatra already used the blockchain technology. If you go into the detail of it, now come to another example. CBSC, 10th and 12th mark sheets and the transfer certificates. The CBSC, they have already adopted the blockchain where the data pertaining to all the 10th and 10 plus 2 students are already available onto the blockchain network basically. And government CBSC took the help of some company in order to establish that decentralized ecosystem. So now pharmaceutical supply chain, e-notary service, all these are very promising applications. And EHR, I have already told to you, e-voting is the need of India. Very soon, in the next 5 years, maybe you will see in India also, like in Germany and many countries, they have carried out this decentralized e-voting system. No need to go to the polling booth, no need to go anywhere. You just need to open your laptop or desktop or your mobile, and through that you can cast your vote and see how much amount of money the country can save if you have the digital decentralized e-voting system. No need to have paper printing, sending the officials, no logistic. So this is also the need of India. Now coming to another examples like chit fund operation administration. I do not want to quote the name of some states, but in the recent past we have noticed that in some of the states that chit fund is going to be a big fraud. Okay, so now many of the companies they come up with this chit fund operations, and they have collected the money from the from the hard workers, and then they just run away from the market, and it's a kind of a scam basically. So all these are very promising applications which government of India already highlighted. So now with this we will stop, and last word that I want to say to all of you that I always quoted in my every session: if anything I have said seems useful to you, I am happy. If not, don't worry. Just forget all about it. This was said by Honorable Dalai Lama. But in my context, I have changed it. If anything I have said seems useful to you, I am happy. If not, don't worry. Soon all become necessity for all of us because of the rapid change in technology. We cannot sit silently. So once again, thank you very much to Dr. Mayank and the entire team of Gurukul Kangdi Viswavidhalaya for inviting me to share my view on adopting the blockchain in different recent applications, specifically 5G related applications. And sometime I personally believe that it would be very difficult for a speaker to cover the entire concept within a span of 90 minutes. Okay. And once again, sorry to all of you for initial glitch in the initial 5 to 7 minutes. Now over to the organizer. Now the forum is open for question answer. Let me check the chat box also. Digi Yatra, still Digi Yatra, why Digi Yatra is not yet updated in Vande Bharat? Maybe this is the plan of Government of India or Ministry of Railway that they will do it very soon. But I personally believe that very soon it is going to be implemented in the in almost all the railway stations also. But if you go to the airport, so most of the airports they have already started, or those who have not started, they have already in the process of starting this Digi Yatra, because it is going to create a hassle-free journey for the passengers also, and at the same time, it is going to reduce the burden onto the CISF and other agencies, because pre-authentication is already carried out by through your basically your Aadhaar card. Yeah. Right.
Any other questions, please?
Rejoin. I'm continuing my attendance school. Okay. Yeah. Anyone have any doubt? Please let me know. Write in the chat box, and so that I will reply. Kumar Vaibhav, you have raised your hand. If you have any doubt, please let me know. So I personally believe that in this particular session, I have floated enough research questions in front of all of you, because according to me, whenever we faculty members or student attending the expert session, then it is the duty of the speaker in order to introduce couple of research questions in front of all of you, so that you will go back and sit silently and exploring about that particular question. Yeah, couple of questions. In India, we are late in implementing technology, but no proper support after it booms. Any specific reason? So now, in the context of blockchain, I am giving you the reason, Dr. Pradeep, because here the prime concern from the government of India side is that the regulatory basically, because this is also an open question in front of all the regulatory agencies like CBI, NIA, and CID, that most of the crime, not only in India but across the globe, these criminals they are doing and collecting the money in the crypto tokens. Okay, cryptocurrencies basically. So now they in India it is not a legal tender. Then they go to the countries where this cryptocurrency is legal tender, and they after giving some kind of let's say the charges, and they get it cash basically. Even though India and other countries they know it, but because they are using the dark web basically, and this is the beauty of the dark web, that identity of the individuals are going to be hidden. So we know that we don't know who is Mr. X, but we know that encoded ID, it's a kind of only one input which the agencies are having. So this is also one of the open question in front of all of us, that how we are going to help the enforcement agencies in order to backtrack the identity of the individual, if they are going to get only a single input, that is that is the wallet ID of the individual who have done that crime basically. Yeah. So now, can you explain sustainable aspect of blockchain? So sustainability aspect of blockchain is meaning related to the proof of stake basically. Okay, if you from the proof of stake point of view, you can say that the United Nations they have already defined couple of SDGs basically, and if you see one of the SDGs related to the energy basically, and so green initiatives basically. So now many of the researchers they have started implementing the consensus mechanism, which are taking less energy, less power as compared to the classical consensus mechanism. So that is the way how they are going to reduce the burden onto the planet, and at the same time they are going to make more energy efficient consensus mechanism. Yeah. Now let me take another question. How can engineering student implement these projects on blockchain? Yeah, you can very easily implement Sivraj. You can use Remix ID, which is ID basically open source, and you can use you can write smart contract in Solidity programming language, which is similar to Java. You can use Hyperledger Fabric also. You can use Ripple also. You can use a test network like Roston, Goerli, or you can use open source decentralized applications platforms also. So a lot of open source tools are available or frameworks are available which you can use in order to develop the blockchain related projects. Sir, may we have your email ID? So let me share my details. Let me share my details. Okay. Give me 1 minute. I will just a minute. Let me write on the chat box. So these are my details basically. So where email ID is also given and other details are also given here. Anyone have any doubt? Please let me know.
Um, Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Mayank Agarwal, sir, and Dr. Sudeep Tanwar, sir, for sharing their time, insights, and wisdom with us. They not only enlighten us with the thought provoking ideas, but also inspired us to look bigger, push boundaries, and embrace new possibility. We are truly grateful for the opportunity that we got today to learn from you. Furthermore, I would like to thank all the experts and speakers, organizers, and all the participants that make this FDP a truly success. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks to all of you and thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.